All right. So, yeah, my name's Grafton Eliason. Um, been here about almost 20 years. Uh, I've been coordinator of the school counseling program, coordinator of the clinical mental health program, K-CREP liaison, taught almost all the classes. Um, so normally, when students take theories, it's one of their first semester classes. Might be your first semester, might be your second semester. But, if you have questions beyond this class about your curriculum, about classes, about what you need to do next, about the field in general, we can always take time to address those. If I can't answer it, then I'll know somebody who can. Uh, so just because this is one of your first classes, you know, we should just take time and address any questions that you may have as well. Um, let's see. Let's talk about ourselves first, um, a little bit. So obviously you found either the email I sent or the D2L page. It was a little difficult getting things loaded on the D2L page because all the networks were down this weekend, but they got them up last night, so D2L is working. So this class I've taught completely online. I've taught completely face-to-face. I rarely teach a multimodal class, though. It's difficult because if I'm looking at people in the classroom, then I feel like I'm ignoring people on screen. If I'm looking at people on screen, I feel like I'm ignoring you in the classroom. So I feel like I'm pulled in two directions. I like it either all online or all face-to-face. But this class had a long waiting list, even though we're teaching a couple versions of it. And we wanted all of the new students to be able to take it. So we made this one multimodal. Um, also, if you signed up for online, you should be able to take it online. If you signed up for face-to-face, you should be able to take it face-to-face. But because it is multimodal, um, even though it's a little different for me, but you get the benefits of both worlds. So for instance, if it was just online, a lot of it would be recorded. So for instance, um, all of my lectures are already pre-recorded, even though I'm going to record and lecture in each class. I think I'm looking a little better now in my later years, so you do get that benefit. But sometimes there's an advantage to having a recent recording. Also, because I'm recording the classes, I can talk about each assignment. You can ask questions about every assignment. And we can go over your exams, provide examples. So it's a little more present than recorded material, even if you're just watching the recording of the classroom. With that being said, even if you're face-to-face, everybody in the class is going to have some discussion boards to do, not every week. Like, I'm not going to give you a discussion board if you have to take a test that week, or I'm not going to give you a discussion board if you're writing a paper or something like that. So I would say maybe 9 discussion boards, something like that, 8 or 9. So the thing with the discussion boards it gives me a time to talk with each and every one of you, to give you individualized attention, to see where you're at with the various theories. Maybe you didn't feel like raising your hand in class and sharing an idea or something. You can share it in a discussion board. So, you know, I do read and comment on every discussion board. So the way I answer the discussion boards is I do have kind of a follow-up answer that everybody gets. But in the first paragraph, that goes to each individual. It's different for each and every one of you. So I address each and every one of you in the first paragraph. After I read what you wrote, I try to reply or respond to it. And then I might have a couple paragraphs following up on the notes or the lectures. Yeah, I think the first discussion board's pretty easy. Introduce yourselves, there's some questions you can answer. You still get points for it. The second thing, other than me being able to talk to each and every one of you as individuals, is you get to talk to one another in a discussion board. So there's a due date when they're due, and then it's okay if it's a little late. You don't have to email me. But at some point over the weekend, you need to read other people's discussion posts and comment on a couple. And not just like one or two sentences. Show them you read it, respond to something they say, but be respectful. If you disagree with somebody, be kind and respectful and diplomatic and use appropriate language. And that's part of being a counselor and a human being. We're going to have this class has changed over the years. When I first taught this, it was in 1997 at Duquesne, and it was 3 fill-in-the-blank exams and a final paper and a presentation. It was difficult to memorize everything. With that being said, it has evolved over the years. I read students' evaluations. I read your feedback. I take it into consideration. I grow myself. I try to find better ways of teaching it. So far, the best way I found is for the exams. It's take home, it's open book. You'll have a week to do it at home. You can use my notes. We'll go over the exams in detail. So don't worry about them tonight. I'm just kind of giving you an overview. But I'll give you a case study. And it's the same case for every theory, for every exam, for every question, same case. And the reason I do that is I want you to see that you can apply each theory to the same case. You can use every theory we learn to some degree with every client you get. Some are more helpful than others, depending on the client's issue. But every theory addresses the client's needs in some way and in a different way. So that's the purpose. I also want you to be able to apply what you learn, to apply the knowledge. And I think that right now, for this class, applying the knowledge is a little more important than memorizing it and just, writing it down before you forget it. There's a difference between graduate school and undergrad, and it took me a little while to figure this out when I was in school. There's so much information in every class, and I don't really teach from the book, but you know, I've read and edited Corey's books. Um, so so I know everything we talk about is in those books. And he presents it in a little different way than I do. So read the book, you know, memorize the materials. And because it's so much material, it's important that you memorize it in a way that you won't forget it 2 years from now or ever. Because at the end of this degree, you're going to have to take 2 big exams. They're national exams. One is the comps, the competencies, and that's to let you graduate with this degree. And the other is the NCE, the National Counseling Exam, and that is for your license. So it's impossible to cram for those exams. You cannot memorize every class at the last minute. The only way to pass those exams is to memorize as you go along. So even though my exams are open book, open note, take home, yeah, you can sit and look at the notes and write your exam and not remember any of it. But that won't help you with the comps. It won't help you when you need to use a theory in your practicum or clinical field. So as you're moving through this process in this class, try to remember, try to memorize the different theories so that you'll be prepared for practicum and for clinical field and those big tests at the end. Another way that I found students learn well is by pretending that you're a counselor and making a video with a client who's a classmate and then watching other students' videos together. And so role playing is a good way to learn these theories. And the final paper, you know, is basically picking a theory that you think becomes an extension of your personality and your own life philosophy as a counselor. Each one of these things builds on the others. Here's the unique thing, in case you're getting a little anxious when I'm talking about exams and role plays and everything. So I have a very unique teaching mentality method. So I used to be a statistician, so they would always put me on different committees. Like, and the one committee I was on was for middle states, and it was basically the outcomes for every department in the university. So I was on this committee, and all the different departments would submit their reports, and without a doubt, somehow every department met their goals. No department failed in their own eyes. But I would see things like, oh, we met our goal. 70% of our students passed the national exam for whatever degree it is, not counseling, but some other department. And what changes do we have to make? None. We're doing great. And they hated me. Everybody hates me who I critiqued, because my answer was always, wow, 30% of your students failed that exam. What are you going to do so that those students can be successful? You can't have 30% of your graduates failing a comprehensive exam. When we look at our counseling stats from our program, we have about a 98% pass rate on national exams. It's one of the highest in the country. So my goal, and I've also had other professors, you know, I had to go for tenure and full professor and all that good stuff. So they look at my portfolio and they're like, all you give is A's. And I'm like, that's what a great teacher's results look like. It's not that I'm an easy teacher. In fact, you might find this to be one of your more difficult classes. People don't get A's in this class because I'm easy. It's because I use, let's see, mastery learning. So mastery learning is simply, I will teach you the material in multiple different ways. Like you'll watch videos, you'll hear a lecture, you'll read the book, all different ways. Different people have different learning styles. And then you'll apply that knowledge on the exam. But instead of me giving you a B or a C or an F, if you don't get an A, I'm going to give you the exam back and you got to redo it. You don't have to rewrite the entire exam, but you got to fix all your mistakes. Because if I went to a doctor, like a medical doctor, and I had something wrong with me, and they're going to take me into surgery, I don't want the doctor who got a B to operate on me. I want the doctor who knows the material. You're going to be working with human beings who are in crisis, human beings who are having big life events. And, you know, I think it's just as important as the medical profession. Our emotional well-being affects us just as much as our physical well-being. And I think that in order to pass this class, you need to know the basics of these theories, because in 2 semesters, you're actually going to be working with real human beings in practicum. So I want to make sure my goal is that, at least with these theories, you're ready to talk to somebody. So you really don't have to worry about a grade in almost any of my classes. The only people who don't do well are people who don't actually hand in work, who don't come to class, who don't rewrite their material to correct their mistakes. It's about twice the work for me to read your paper 2 times. So, you know, I think it's that important. So let's see, before we go over the syllabus and all that, let's and because I have D2L, you can do some things at home unless I want to discuss it in class. But for instance, if I have a supplemental video, we all don't have to sit together and watch the video. But you can comment on, you can watch it and then comment on it in your discussion posts, and we'll talk about it. You can bring it up the next class. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. And because you're doing the introductions in the discussion post, I think we'll get a lot of information from you. So after I talk a little bit about myself, I just want you to kind of tell me who you are, what program are you in? Is it school counseling? Is it clinical mental health? We might even have an art therapist. I'm guessing you're all in the beginning of the program, but you can let us know. Maybe for some reason you couldn't squeeze this class in. And do you have a dream? Do you have a certain population you want to work with? You know, do you want to work with an age group? Do you want to be in a high school, an elementary school? You want to work with addictions? What do you want to do? What are you thinking about? And that can change. And then the last thing is two truths and a lie. Yeah, has anybody done that one? Okay, so here's the game. All right. So you tell everybody three things, and we're not going to record this part, but you tell everybody three. Maybe I will. Maybe everybody should watch it. All right. So we'll tell everybody three things about ourselves, and they can't just be, oh, I've got 3 brothers and 2 sisters. No, it's got to be interesting. All right. So, you know, 3 things that the average person might not know about you. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them's a lie. And we have to guess which one is a lie. And don't be like, oh, I've got 6 brothers. No, I've only got 5. No, you know, don't make it close like that, you know? All right, so you think about that. And if you need to, you can write them down so you don't forget the lie. All right. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll tell you 2 truths and a lie. I have a lot of different ones. So let's see what mood I'm in tonight. So you can call me Grafton. That's my first name. All 3 of my names are last names: Grafton, Todd, Eliason. They gave me all last names to keep the females' last names alive in our family. My brother has 3 last names as well. 2 of them are female last names. So if you haven't heard the name Grafton, that's why. So it's Welsh and Norwegian. But you know, we're in graduate school. You can call me Grafton. We're adults. If I made you call me Dr. Eliason, first of all, I'd feel weird about it, like I had some ego trip or something. But also, I'd need to call you Miss or Mr. or whatever, you know, you would like to be called, and then your last name. And I don't want to memorize your last names. So it's kind of like mutual respect. Why do professors or teachers get to call students by their first name, but you have to call the teacher by their last name? It's incongruent. So either I have to give you the same respect, or, you know, you can call me Grafton. If you don't feel comfortable, you can still call me Dr. Eliason. Just don't call me Dr. Grafton. That'd be like Dr. Bob. Yeah. Let's see. I've worked in all areas of mental health and school counseling, and had a private practice, and worked for different agencies. So I've got a lot of experience. So usually when I teach my classes, I like to tell you stories. Let's see. Right now I've got 4 kids. 3 of them are 2 years apart, and the last one is like 5 years apart. So that pushed my retirement back quite a bit. 2 boys, 2 girls, Bernedoodle, 3 cats. One of them's a Manx, you know, like part lynx without a tail. Let's see. I like studying cross-cultural religions, and I like studying various cultures. And I used to take students on mission trips to do volunteer counseling. We were in South Africa, Peru, Belize. We trained the police academy in Belize. We've worked in orphanages. Let's see. Spent quite a bit of time in India when I was younger. Tell you some stories about that. Yeah, that's about it.